Hello, welcome. This is Melissa Shaw. Oh, you're good. This is Melissa Shaw. I just do my introduction, so yeah, you're good.
Is it on?
Yes,
At least wait till I get the
no,
tea.
she'll bring it over. Girl, this is it's okay. I allow all of it to be. This is what we do. But no, this is Melissa Shaw with Our Generation, where we educate, empower, and inspire. And welcome to another episode. And I'm actually gonna have to count my episodes because I realized the other day that I have interviewed almost 80 people.
80? That's a lot of people.
That's
a lot of consistency.
Girl, so I started in May, and I until I had to have my surgery this May, which is crazy. It happened a year later. I literally interviewed 52 weeks. I never missed an episode. I
Really?
said I don't think I've ever been that consistent on anything in my life.
Listen.
Anything. It is crazy because I didn't even want to do this, and
Really?
I was the most consistent with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So while she's getting her tea, she got the lavender vanilla, which is my favorite, and we obviously are here at Farm Free. I have my caramel apple cider, which is my other fall favorite. And whenever she doesn't have it, I'm really sad. But anyway, but yes, so we are here at Farm Free Live. Shout out to them, Miss Nicole, for letting me do my shows here. It's such a vibe. Everybody loves it when they come here. And they end up coming back. So I'm glad that I'm able to, bring you business and support.
That's good.
I know, right?
That's fire.
Yeah, see? Firsthand. That's fine. Y'all first got the first experience, the first
I
time.
ain't lying. Look, I ain't lying.
Yeah, no, it's really good. So yeah, so we're here. I'm gonna be interviewing a friend that I just recently met
Come on.
at a networking event, not even a month ago.
No, you consistent. You be
Girl,
on it.
I do because when I see and I'm like, oh yeah, my people need to hear you,
Yeah.
because you have an amazing story. So
I appreciate
I'm
that.
excited to
Life
have
has
you.
been lifing.
Yes, yes.
Always. It's gonna always life. So, yeah.
Absolutely. So can you just tell my listeners your name, where you're from, and a little bit about yourself?
Yes, my name is Lashata Grayson. I am the owner of Carrying the Way, a wellness agency that helps people feel renewed, rebuild, and restored through all multifacets of life. We believe that in order to unpack, you have to unpack what you have been through in order to go forward. I am from Gary, Indiana, big 219 in the house, and I'm just a human being that is on a journey to just do better and to know better.
I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So what made you get started on your journey? And well, first let me ask, well, what's your background?
Yeah, that's a good question. My background is in education. I've been in education for about 10 years. I started off as a special education teacher. Then I started teaching and dealing with college students. And then I was co-owning a consulting agency. So I became a professional speaker. So I travel and probably speak to 30 to 40 universities
Wow.
a year. Probably up to 10,000 college students all over the world. And so,
did you ever think you'd be a speaker in front of people?
no, and get paid like legit.
That part, yeah.
No, I've always been a talker, but like to be like on a stage and like recording and like headlining. No,
Yeah.
no.
So did you take classes for that?
No, self-taught. I've always the education. So my research is about adult learners, Black women, all of those things. So I've always had a lot of information about it. I speak about equity work and like inclusion, people and developing people. How do we create spaces where if you're a manager or you're a people developer to get people to be better? And I mean, I've been managing people for so long, so it's all about experiences. And I've always had stories to tell, but now I'm in a space where I want to share my story.
I love that.
So self-taught. Nope, no training.
Nice.
I work for an educational technology company, and I got a little sharper working for a tech company. But
Because I know I can see myself going into the realm of public speaking.
I can see that you got personality.
You're not supposed to co-sign on that. No,
Consistency.
Thank you. Right, but I feel like I need to better tell my story because I miss a lot of components, and sometimes I miss a whole chapter that should be part of my story. So I've been wondering and kind of tossing the idea around if I should take maybe some speaking classes or I don't know. And I say a lot. So funny side story. I was on, Les Brown, right?
Yep.
I was on a Zoom with him like a month ago.
Okay.
And so, because I'm part of this development program, every Tuesday, we dive deep into a book.
Okay.
And
I'm about to be okay. Book
yeah,
knowledge.
yes. So the one of the guys that's instructing, he's good friends with him, and so he brought him on as a guest speaker, which was dope. Because I listen to Les Brown, like I love his stories, I love how he speaks and his presence. And so as we're talking, we all got a chance to ask him a question. And so as I'm asking him a question, I was nervous. So I kept, and I
You
feel
should
like,
say
oh my god,
um.
he literally would not let me finish my question. He was like, you owe me $5 every time you say and he shot his cash app out. I'm thinking he playing. He was not playing.
How much
I
is you
literally
owe?
had to send him $50.
He gonna be rich.
But he is rich. You know how much he charges for 1 hour personal session?
What?
Almost $13,000.
Oh, yeah.
So people get paid to speak, like because
Mm-hmm.
but he moves people, to action, and that's the biggest thing with speaking is are you bringing value? Do people feel moved to
Yeah.
do something?
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, after that, I was like, okay, maybe I need to go to some classes because I keep saying too much, and I got to get
Yeah.
rid of that because you can get lost. Like
And
his
the when you start focusing on it,
and he said that it can mess with your story. It could get people to focus on
because
that,
they're not listening
and
to
then
it too.
yeah,
The thing about a story is you get to pick what elements of the story you want to share. Every time I tell a story, I might not tell everything, right?
Mhm.
I'll probably do some scenes or certain things, but it's always to paint them in the picture. So I'm gonna describe the setting. I'm gonna say what I had on. I'm gonna say it was a cold day. Oh, child, you know it was real cold. You got to put on a little jacket. I'm gonna gauge you into it before I get to this element. Sometimes I might say I don't think I do it a lot at all because
Yeah.
I've told the story so many times. So it's practice.
Yes.
I think practice and also comfortability and
Absolutely.
knowing your audience is really a target key. I speak with college students, but based on the audience, I have to change or tailor my story,
Right.
and also make sure I lead with being vulnerable. And it's very hard to be vulnerable sometimes because I talk about some deep stuff.
Yeah.
I talk about my mom having me at 16. I talk about my own Black identity and me dealing with race growing
Right.
up, and even now, I don't. My work that I talk about is not so sexy,
Right.
but I dress it up a
But
little
it's
bit.
necessary.
It's necessary for sure.
Absolutely.
Because I want people to know how to treat, marginalized communities. How do we support each other, but also some of the problematic. Some of the stuff is problematic. We got a lot going on in the world, and it's a lot of unlearning that needs to happen.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that's
well, I
one of the things.
appreciate
I
that.
don't think. I mean, you can look into some classes, but also I think I would figure out what do I want to talk about, right? Because everybody say they want to be a speaker, they want to do all of this. What is some things that really gets me angry? What are some things that get me on fire? And then also, what are some stories that are connected to that? Like I talk about mental health, but I have stories connected to that. I lost about 60, 70 pounds. How did I lose 60 or 70 pounds? What did I go through? What was the things that I had to unlearn? What was the events that took place in my life to get me there? You really have to have those things that build up. And also, what are some nuggets that you're going to give people? Because if you're not giving people tangible things to take away, then what makes you different from the next person?
You're right.
I learned because I was on a pitch competition called the Blocks, and it's like the Blocks is for startups or whatever. I'm gonna be on Amazon Prime next year. But
nice, that's exciting.
Yeah, but one thing I learned is what problem are you trying to solve? So like as a speaker, what are you solving when you speak to people? For me, right. I know that a lot of people are not taking care of themselves, and a lot of managers don't know how to treat people. Right. A lot of managers don't know how to supervise or deal with Black women. Yeah. So I'm helping you solve their problems so you can retain them, and so we can kind of make sure that they feel safe in a place.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I love that. So did this concept and kind of what you're doing evolve over time?
Yes. So I started out as I was doing recruiting training. So I was teaching people how to recruit people and retain people from an ed tech company. I always was doing a little bit of equity work. I used to be, heavy activist in college. I was president of Black Student Union. I went to IUPUI. And then it kind of transformed to me going to graduate school, and people was like, "You should be talking. You got something to say."
Right.
I did the keynote before I graduated with my undergraduate degree, and for the I did the Black graduate keynote and talked about just us as Black individuals graduating, and it was really powerful. And I was like, okay, maybe I got something to say.
Yeah.
Still kept on. Like I said, I was at the ed tech company and realized that I want to talk about more important things. I want to help people feel less alone, and I was dealing with a lot of stuff myself.
Yeah.
And so I started being on social media more. I started talking. I always been like a bubbly personality type of person, and so it just evolved. I think I'm more confident in myself now because I'm assured of myself and what I have to say. And I
Yeah.
know my message might not be for everyone, but the people that's for it's gonna touch.
Absolutely. That you made me think of something earlier. I was talking with a lady I met with, and you know, once we own what we are and who we are,
That's good.
then it helps us to show up.
Yeah.
Like you said, you knew you had a voice, you knew you had something to say, but you knew that it wouldn't affect everybody, but you was okay with that. You was gonna connect with who you need to connect with.
Yeah. And I think that's the key. A lot of times, just realizing like I said this on Instagram. People's like, you get nervous. I absolutely get nervous. I don't care how long I've been doing this because I care what I say to people.
Yeah.
And what I say sometimes can impact anyone. And so I care about my message. I care about
Right.
the education, the experience that I am providing to people. So I always still get nervous.
Yeah. I love that. And you said something earlier that made me think when you was talking about your story and how you set the scene, and that made me like, okay, I don't think I've ever done that. And I like that element. So thank you for that. Cause that now when I go, cause I want to practice, and you're right, it is practice, practice makes perfect. But being able to tell my story, but paint the picture, like the element, like what was the weather like get them involved in.
I want to feel like I'm there. You know,
Yeah,
when I
absolutely.
spoke to you all, I was only a few people there, but I made you feel my emotions of like my
Mm-hmm.
mother having the struggle, this notion of always asking for help. Like I
Yeah.
wanted you all to feel like I went through some things, but also we all do. And
Yeah.
so how do we come together to kind of make strides to move past it or to get in a space where we feel like, you know, we don't have to carry the weight by ourselves.
Absolutely.
But it's all about, like I said, painting a picture,
Mm-hmm.
a good picture.
Yeah.
Everything don't got to be on the canvas, or everything might be on the canvas, but it's not for everybody to see, or you
Right.
didn't see it this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like that. And you said equity a couple times.
Yeah.
Can you explain to ones that may not really understand maybe what that is or what that looks like?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So I tell people equity is giving people what they need in order to be their greatest self. And so a lot of times when we think of, I'll use me as an example, small example, I'm vegetarian, she might eat meat. If I come over to her house and she doesn't have something for me to eat, but she invites me over, how is that giving me what I need? When we think of, you know, our systems now, as it relates to being like white supremacy and like having this world has been around the dominant culture, which is white people. Right. And so people who look like me necessarily don't have what they need. You know, when we think of the incident with George Floyd, we think of police brutality, we think of all that's going on right now in the world, it's based off a system that wasn't designed for
I
black
was
and
just
brown
thinking that like
marginalized people.
no,
And
like they
so
when they created the system, it was only they only had their
it
them
wasn't
in mind.
equitable. So
Yeah.
if example, I was teaching some students, I was telling them is if education wasn't designed for me to even be in the classroom, so how do we make sure that now it's designed for me? I'm in the classroom, but like how do I have what I need? You know, how do we educate me from different lived experiences? People are not giving people what they need. We're at work, people don't know how to communicate to black and brown people, people don't know how to treat them, you know, people don't know how to say to stop saying problematic things. So equity is all about giving people what they need to be their greatest self. And it takes work. And you choose to give people what they need. It's a choice. And some people don't want to do it.
No, and it's hard for me to see that because that's just how I'm built. Like I'm always gonna want to give people what they need. Like if someone said like you come over and you say I don't do this or I don't do that, okay, well I'm not gonna have that there.
Yeah, but see, the problem is you don't know, right? When you think about it, let's use another identity. If a person is queer, you know, and goes by certain pronouns, a lot of people don't understand this, so they automatically revert back to, well, I don't know about this pronoun thing, instead of unlearning, and that takes a skill, that takes using the brain, that takes trying.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people just are not able to try or willing to try.
That big part
because
is
if you
willing.
cared enough, you would try.
Yeah. I would care because you would want to make sure that person is comfortable.
Yeah, and understanding that sometimes it's mistakes that you know we keep repetitively we keep making is missteps that you see you make it and you continue to do it. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. But we need to understand that equity is all about choices and also giving people things, but also learning and learning to unlearn.
Yeah, like this whole system world needs to be just blown up and started over.
And I think it needs to be more people that's willing to accept that some things are not right.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of times when you're not in the majority, you get left out.
Absolutely.
And so walking into different spaces where people are just like, oh, well, I didn't know that. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a lot of people. Example, They ask to touch my hair. Why are you touching my hair? And then when I correct you on the behavior, the microaggressive behavior, you say like, well, my other friend lets me do it. Everybody's not the same. And you can't categorize as the same. But you can take out some time to get to know me and realize like what I like and cater to my needs, making sure that I feel like you're giving me what I need. But we don't do that.
No, and it like you said, it's being taught. So I have a friend; she's the same way. Like she built her whole brand. Her brand is called Black Girl Hug.
Okay.
And she built her whole brand almost around not touching black women's hair because there's something with that and how that is perceived and how they feel. And I never thought that was even, I don't want to use the word issue, but that was even something that was thought of, like, until I met her. And so it makes sense now.
Yeah.
So like you said, sometimes we just, certain things we just don't know, but once we do know, what do we do with that? Are we willing to be like, okay, I'll respect that because I didn't know. Yeah, instead of saying, "Oh, I'm gonna still do it because my friend lets me do it, so I'm gonna do it anyway."
Yeah, like it's just like you have no disregard, no care. And like I said, it's the missteps that you keep doing. You keep seeing it, you keep stepping there, and you continuously to do the behavior. And we don't need that. And sometimes, I think of the opposite side. Outside of that, people that are black and brown don't know how to deal with that. Right? Like it's some people that are like, I'm tired. Like, you the fifth person to ask me to touch my hair, or I'm about to pop off on you, and I have this projection that I'm angry or that I might be away because I am tired of over explaining.
Yeah.
So like you got one side where it's like they're trying to learn, and then you got the other demographic. Sometimes it's just like I have to over explain.
Yeah.
And so it's just a system that's really designed, to need to go up in shambles. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and like I said, this stuff not sexy. When you tell college students, because I work with organizations, primarily white organizations, when you tell them some of the things that how the organizations have started historically, it was segregated. Historically, it wasn't designed for people like me. And so when you tell some people that, it's kind of put them in shock. Like, oh no, oh yes,
Yeah.
this is how we got here. But it's your responsibility now that you know what you're going to do with the information.
Right.
Are you going to do something? Are you going to make sure people like me feel included within your organization, or we're going to keep the system going?
Right. Yeah.
Because my mom would say, now that you know better, are you going to try to do better, or are we going to keep doing the same thing,
Right.
like insanity?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So how long you been doing this?
Probably speaking, I would say like professionally, I hate the word professionally, but like probably like 5 years now. 5 years. Yeah.
So is that what you do? Is you travel and talk to schools?
Yeah,
mainly now.
Schools, organizations. Yeah, I travel and do that for the most part full time, and I write curriculum and courses for people too.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, so I'll write ghostwriter, write things, but I consider myself more like a educational consultant. That's what I would say, where I'm changing behaviors and also providing strategy, consistent development, and I'll talk too. I'll drop the mic here and there. Here and there.
Yeah. So you did really good when I met you at the event, and that is, you've been there before. You've attended that event before.
That was my first time.
Okay.
But I knew the people that are over the event. And I was like, okay, it was about mental health.
Yeah.
So that's my jam because a lot of people just don't know about mental health. Certain resources don't even get the information or take care of themselves.
Yeah.
It's hard to talk to someone, especially if you grew up where as a just woman, whether you black, however you identify, that as a woman you have to do everything. You got to be a mom, you got to be a wife, you got to be all these things. And when is it time for you to take care of you?
Yes. No, you're so right. We was talking about that because I had a hysterectomy in May, which was unexpected, but it could have been prevented because I was told a year ago that I needed to have it.
And what you do? Prioritize everybody else with yourself.
And I didn't do it.
Kept pushing it off.
Kept pushing. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be down. I don't want to do that. And then my body was like, well, we're gonna do it now.
Because I'm gonna sit you down if you don't want to sit yourself down. And it's so crazy because we'll be like, tomorrow, 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 and it's like that's what I've studied. Like women, how we sometimes just have this superwoman hero syndrome and like this power, and it's like we as if we're magical and we not.
Right.
Like we cry, we feel, we have these emotions, but sometimes we don't take out the time to just take care of ourselves. But we wasn't taught that. I know for me, I was taught like you need to keep going. Life is not stopping. And now, as I'm taking like a pause on like a lot of stuff, I'm just processing. I'm staying still. And it's so hard for me to stay still because I have to think about some of the problematic issues that I had, or like healing,
Hmm.
relationships, all that type of stuff. And it's like, it's hard.
It is.
It's hard work to work on yourself.
It is, and it's not a something that you're like, okay, well, mark that off my list.
No,
It
it's
is
a
not a
checklist.
mark off list type
It's not.
thing.
It's an ongoing thing. It's not a checklist. It's like,
Mm-mm.
damn, I thought I healed from this. Okay,
Right.
let's go. Let's
Yes,
go back.
right. Thought I was good until somebody triggered me, and now
You
we
triggered
back.
me. Okay,
Okay.
now I gotta process why I'm crying. Girl, why you upset?
Right.
Like,
Or why you want to kill this person now? Like, what happened?
listen, want to bust your windows out your car for what? I told people sometimes I'm a city girl that I'm that stage crying. Why is that? We gotta process these emotions.
Yes.
But I've been going to therapy for about 3 years, and it's helped me. And I think a
Yeah.
lot of people think therapy is like we're sitting in dim lights and how do you feel today? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No, it's not.
It's
Yeah.
literally a conversation, like I said.
Yep.
But it's hard to find a therapist. Insurance, we think about equity. Insurance is not at everyone's access. Like everyone
Correct.
don't have insurance. Everyone don't have money to pay for these things.
Hmm.
There are resources out there, but just the disadvantage a lot of people are at to get the help that they need and deserve.
Yeah, that is needed. That can make society so much better.
For sure.
But that's all part of the system.
Yeah.
They don't want it.
Yeah. So okay, what were you doing at the event? How did you end
Wait a
up?
minute, you don't be interview. You interview.
I wanted
This
to
she's a
know.
speaker. That is so funny.
I wanted to know.
So I work with a company called Legal Shield. So I
Oh
was
yes, you
there.
told me that. You told me that. My bad.
Yeah,
My
I was
bad.
there talking about that because even in with mental health and with harm reduction, like you have this fear of the police,
Mm.
and so your rights are a lot of times violated.
Yeah.
So being
And when you
able
don't know, you don't know.
exactly, so being able to have that access to call and say, hey, this didn't feel right, or hey, I think the police is trying to be, shady or
What you
whatever.
think about this, right?
Right, being able to have that access, and like you said, people are priced out of the market when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to
It's so
the
much.
legal system, like just everywhere, and
Mhm.
to be able to have a service that pretty much levels the playing field and allows you to have that equal access,
Right.
to the justice system. Like you don't have to have a ton of money, but you still can have access.
And that's the thing. We lack resources and access because we don't know. And when you're not taught certain things, you got to figure it out. And I'm
Yeah,
tired of us
that's
trying to
exhausting.
figuring it out is exhausting.
It is. It is. And you think of people that do have money or in a better situation, they don't figure shit out. They pick up the phone
And ask for help,
and they
or
be
they got
like,
the
look, this
resources.
what's happened. I'm going to let
call
you
such
handle it
such. Yeah.
and hang up and be done with it. Why can't we have the same access?
Yeah.
So when I learned about the company, I was like, okay, this can be a game changer for people, and not a lot of people know about it.
Yeah. Because when you told me, I was like, oh, sure.
Yeah, so to be able to have that 24/7 access, like if you have an issue after hours and you getting pulled over by the police or you getting questioned or detained, you can call your lawyer and he'll represent you at that moment. I feel like our rights are to be quiet and rights to an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
When the system created those rights, they knew 90% of people would not have access to an attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And they knew that people aren't going to be able to keep quiet because now you done irritated me because
So
you're asking me to get out of the car. You're not telling me why you're stopping me. So, of course, I'm going to have an attitude. Like, I'm not going to be nice about it. So, you pretty much set me up to fail. You put these rights in place when you knew that I was going to not be able to exercise them.
Right.
And so, this company says, I'm about to level that. Like, you do have access. And so I really got passionate about wanting to make sure that people just knew. And again, it's all about educated and let them know that this is out here. You don't have to do this alone. If you're dealing with an apartment complex, it's not going to give you your deposit back. Like there's a law out there that if it takes them 30 days, 31 days, they owe you 2 times.
Yeah.
People don't know that. How many times have we should have gotten deposits back or people,
Yeah.
But being able to have access to say, hey, this is going on. I need somebody to have my back. And they do that. It's huge. And so when me and Tasha met, we met at Cleo's and connected, and our relationship is very unique.
Okay.
And I love the story. I love when she tells it. So she grew up, and her grandfather did not like white people, and it was like, you're not going to talk to white people. So she always had this where she didn't trust white people.
I mean, and rightfully so.
Yes. So when she met me, she was kind of hesitant.
Oh, for sure. It's like, oh, it's
But
the world.
right, but then once we really started talking, she was like, "Oh my God, like you are nothing like what I expected," and she was like, "I want you part of what I'm doing," and so we kind of built this bond.
Mm-hmm.
But it's beautiful because it shows that even though sometimes on either side we're taught things,
Right.
but it's okay to not feel like it's a blanket of everybody because everybody's not like that.
Correct.
And so when you do find someone, you're like, oh wow, like this is,
This might work.
yeah, exactly.
It's hard.
It is. And I could have, like, we was talking about something and she had corrected me on, like, not, what was we was talking about being, oh, what's the word? I can't even think of the word. But she was like, if it's this. I'll think about it later. But it was basically about me, people supporting, whites supporting black people's rights, like an advocate. But isn't there another?
Ally?
Yes, I think I was saying an advocate, and she was, it was one of
you was mixing them up.
Yes, and she was like, "No, this is what you really want to be. Based on how I see you, this is what you
really
are." But you was just naming it the wrong way.
Like I said, I tell people all the time, it's like, okay, yeah, I'm showing up, but I need you to advocate. I need you to do more than show up. I need you to try to change them, make some stuff happen.
Yeah.
Because you're going to make some stuff happen. You're going to pop it off. You're going to say something to your cousin that says something problematic.
Absolutely.
You're going to, if we work together, you're going to address the policy or also say like, hey, I seen that behavior.
Yep.
How do we use the privilege that I have?
Absolutely.
As a white person, like you all have privilege. How do I use my privilege to give other people access?
And I struggled with that.
Really?
When someone would say white privilege, it made me cringe. Yeah. Because it just made me, okay, I'm not better than you, so I don't have but I get it. But just from how I was raised, I don't. It's hard for me to hold on, like attach myself to it.
Yeah, and it's a thing.
But it does make sense. Like, and I will, I've had friends say, "Hey, I need you in this room." All right, let's go. Like, and I'm there.
And that's the thing too. It's that, and then it's like the other side to it. You have to not even humble yourself, but have to say like, I know this is gonna happen. So I'm not gonna win in this situation. Right. So I need someone to be there. But yeah, when the world is made up with white people, even institutions, education, it is facts. But everything was designed for those people, white people. So it's kind of like a system that you're constantly trying to battle and fight for. So when you think of, like I said, the white privilege, it's like, well, you can do things automatically just based off how you look. Yeah. That I can't, and it's a hard pill to swallow, but it's the reality. And some people, similar to like what you said, you and Tasha, I became friends. When you grow up, for me, I grew up like, you need to be very aware. You need to put in the work. You know that life is not going to be handed to you, but also like you're black.
Yeah.
And so it's hard.
And that sucks
to have that conversation.
I hate that.
But if my parents didn't have the conversation, I probably wouldn't be prepared. Yes. I don't think so. Yeah. And so but it's some people that really do want to do the right thing and want to change, but it's that unlearning. It's hard. To me, it's easy to learn. It is very hard to program your brain to unlearn.
Especially when you've been trained and brought up. Like, have you ever read the book, The 5 Agreements?
Yes.
So in there, it talks about how when we were kids, we are trained by our parents to be a certain person. But that may not be who we are inside. And so as we get older, we fight against that. Because now it's like, I'm living my authentic self. I was playing a role over here, but it was because we was told how to act. We was told what to like. We was told how to have a religion, what to believe, everything. We were told to do it. Yeah. And so when you get older, you have the ability to be like,
I don't know about that.
That really don't sit well with my spirit.
Yeah, I ain't feeling that.
And now I have the opportunity to say, okay, am I going to go left or right?
Yeah, so working with college students, one thing I've learned is they're progressing through their identity development, figuring out who they are as an individual person. That is you within that 18 to 27 range. You are figuring out, you're progressing through an identity development. What do I like? What religion I want to study? I'm now biracial. Am I black? What does this mean? Right. Even some people, like I said, within their blackness of like, it's level of blackness that like I'm trying to discover. Within white people too, it's like, okay, what voice do I want to have? What do I care about? You start to process your identity, and it's tough.
Yeah, it's
tough. I went through it and I'm like, what's just me? What do you think? Right. I don't know. My mama said this. No. Right. What do you think?
Yeah. And I love that, and I commend you because, like you said, this isn't pretty. And
Exactly.
conversations, people don't want to have this. They don't want to talk about it. So for you to be like, no, we're going to talk about it,
Yeah.
and being able to go in and talk to these generations that probably won't have someone talk to them about it is huge, because
Mm-hmm.
you're giving them a new perspective. You're giving them something that, like you said, that they may not even have thought of, that needs to be thought of.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe, hopefully, they'll take something, and when they move into the world, you can start seeing that change
Happen.
because somebody, you had a voice and you used it for this.
And then you never know, like what you said, speaking, you never know how your story could help someone else. That one person. If
Yep.
I help one person out of 1,000, that's cool.
Yeah.
Somebody got touched. Somebody that I never would have met.
Absolutely.
So
Yep.
that's the biggest thing. Even
Yeah.
when I did the session with you, I was only a few of you all in the room. It didn't matter to me because look at the connection that was made.
Absolutely.
And I could have went in like, oh well, I'm just gonna sit down. I'm just gonna no. I'm gonna
Yeah.
give y'all my all as if I
Yep.
was speaking to 1,000 people because you
Absolutely.
deserve that much, whether you paying or not.
Absolutely.
And that's why sometimes people who do get into speaking, they be like, well, when a lot of people, it doesn't matter.
Mm-mm. You
You
still
give it
got
your
to show
all.
up.
You still got to show up because you
Mhm.
just never know who you might touch.
Yeah. Absolutely. So where do you see yourself, like, finishing out the rest of the year? Are you gonna? Do you have any speaking engagements?
Yes, I have quite a few coming up. I have the Strength of She, the It's Girl Summit. That's in Indianapolis, October 28th. I'll be in Tennessee speaking at a school next week. I am speaking at Black Student League Conference in New Orleans in November.
Nice.
I will be at IU in November as well. Yeah, I got a few little things
I
closing out.
love it. I love
I got a
it.
few little ones closing out, and it's so crazy because even when people tell me like, "Asha, you're a professional speaker, like you travel and speak for a living," that's a dream. I'm like, really? I don't see myself like that.
Yeah.
I just chill.
Yeah.
I'm always humble though,
Yeah.
because what I've learned with this, even with entrepreneurship, as quick as you get it, the quick it can go.
Ain't that the truth?
Entrepreneurship is a ghetto roller coaster. There's highs and lows.
I love, you said it's a ghetto roller coaster. I love
We
it.
rolling. And it's a little wobbly.
It's so
Am I gonna fall? Because I don't know.
It might. Yep.
Child, I'm shaking.
Yeah. No, for real.
Some days I'm crying, and some days I'm like, girl, you got it.
So right,
You in your
like,
bag. Next week sales down.
you're
Okay,
like,
good.
God damn it. Yeah. Like, should I get a job? Should I go back to corporate? Like,
I probably need to get a job.
Right.
Okay.
And then the universe is like, nah, baby, you don't. And then some comes, and you're like, okay, thank you. I was tripping. I was
Yes,
tripping.
but I think a lot of times with entrepreneurship, we're not talking about that.
Yeah.
We're talking about running the business, and it's just like, baby, the first 3 years is really like, are you gonna make it?
Right. When you talk about being a broke college student, let's talk about being a broke entrepreneur.
They don't talk about that because that money is low. They don't
Like,
talk
just
about that
because I
bank
got
account.
a job don't mean I ain't broke. Like, no.
And investing into your business too. A lot of times it takes a lot of work to marketing, branding, all that type of stuff. It is work. And one thing I've learned on my entrepreneurship journey is to believe in myself. I struggle with believing in myself and who and what I have. And so sometimes people see you more than you see yourself. And that's the hard thing. But if you got to believe in your product more than anybody else.
Yes. Yep. You got to use it. Well, so where can they find you and follow you? So
yes. Okay. So you can follow me _ carrying the weight. Follow that page at carrying the weight, and then my page at lashate.marie, and then www.carryingtheweight.org to get more information.
So if anyone wanted to, would they be able to have you come to their company and speak?
Yeah. So like I said, on the website, it's on there to schedule the book. You can schedule a consultation with me, or write me on social media, LinkedIn, Lashata Grayson. You'll see me on LinkedIn as well. You schedule time to book with me.
Perfect. I love it. Well, thank you for being on.
Thank you. This was good. And the team is fire.
Yes,
okay?
it is. So make sure y'all check out Farm Free Life. And they got some things coming. They about to go mobile, which I'm excited. So she's going to be able to travel in the city and
travel in the city.
Other places. So this has been Melissa Shaw with Our Generation. And please check out my girl, Carrying the Weight, Lashata.
Big weight, not the little.
Carrying the weight.
Carrying the weight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You said big weight, not little.
Always.
Big weight.
We always got a lot of weight on us that we carry.
Yeah.
And it ain't little.
It is not. I love that. All right, guys. Well, we are out. Y'all have a good night. I can never get this to shut off. Uh,